Yes, sir. We are back in this thing. So, today we got new developments to the rapper or singer, artist, just artist, David, and the situation that's going on with him. Now, for those that don't know, there was a body found in his trunk. And I'm pretty sure everybody already knows. So there was a body found in his trunk. Now, my viewpoints on it is you never know. You never know. Even if they find him guilty, even if they find him not guilty, you never know what really happened. You know what I mean? There are a lot of coincidences. They got the same tattoo, but at the end of the day, no one knows what really happened except for him and her. You know what I mean? So, and anybody else that was there. But let's get right into it.
And today we're reacting to the new David developments change everything. So I have barely ever reported and watched any videos on this because of the state that my channel was in. But you know, thank you God and thank you YouTube for not giving me another strike. But all my strikes are gone. I have no strikes. We are clean across all channels. See what I'm saying? So we can watch this video. We can see what's going on. Y'all can hear what my little speaking takes and all these things about these situations. I'm excited to see it though. Like again, I've seen the first couple videos. You know, I put them on my Astral Dior channel, but I haven't seen them. I haven't seen no new developments, no new news, no new. I've been seeing the little headlines. Oh, he innocent. Oh, now he's a suspect.
Yeah, that is crazy. I haven't seen nothing on it either. Like ever since the first little. That's why to be honest, I don't really even believe nothing on the internet. This could all be fake, just to get marketing, just to get, you know what I mean? How they do the fake fights, fake. I think people be putting fake jail sentences in the news and all. Like, you never know, bro.
Oh, let's get to the video. Let's do it.
They now consider the singer a suspect in her death and say they have better.
Oh, but that's the news, though. So that might be legit for real.
So, according to the University of Delaware, people with an IQ of 115 and above can
Better information about when
But they also got AI.
she may have died.
Now, the new David, spelled D4VD, developments change everything. And I don't say that lightly, because according to sources with direct knowledge of the investigation, this case has now gone to a much deeper place than where it started. We first talked about
How hard is it to figure out, and it must be pretty hard, but how difficult is it, and what mastermind criminal are we dealing with that he's been able to, he has not been caught for this situation here? Like, it seemed pretty cut and dry. Hey, the Tesla was outside his crib, or from what my last updates, maybe I
don't know. I mean, the evidence do stack against him. You can't lie and argue that. But you never know, bro. Greater evidence has been stacked against people that I'm sure have been innocent. You know what I mean? You never know.
I'll get updated on here. But the Tesla was close to his crib.
You gotta do due diligence, especially as an investigator, because you don't want to lock up an innocent man, bro. That's like, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to live with that. Then that man go to jail. This is a young woman, you know what I'm saying? So quite certain in jail, it's not gonna go too well with the other inmates. Then that man wind up pushed back, gone, no more, out of here, capiche? You gotta live with that. You sentenced that man.
Yeah, the body in his car.
Then it come out he was innocent. Somebody else, oh, that was me. I did that. Oh man, it's crazy.
He parked it away. I feel like a lot of motherfuckers would have already been behind bars, locked. not roaming free. You feel what I'm saying?
About the David story, spelled D4VD, back on September 10th.
But yeah, I mean, the evidence do stack against them. I can't.
When all we had
bro,
were
we
headlines, confusion, and a single breaking news alert about a body found inside an impounded Tesla. Back then, nobody obviously understood the timeline. Nobody knew who the victim was, and the entire situation felt like one giant question mark, especially because the name tied to that car belonged to a popular young singer nobody expected to see connected to something like this. Since then, a lot has been said, a lot has been assumed, and this has become one of the most confusing and emotionally charged stories I've personally covered on this channel, that's for sure. And of course, it involves a 14-year-old girl who lost her life, which makes the story even heavier to talk about. Now, my last video on this case, a little over 3 weeks ago, I told you that I'd keep you updated the moment anything significant developed. And today I'm here to deliver that promise. My goal with this video is to explain why these new details are so significant and how they completely shift the timeline and direction of this investigation. So, let's get into it. Now, the first major thing we're going to talk about is that David has now been identified by investigators as a suspect in this case. And here's the thing, right? This is not an official stamp, because they do need probable cause with the help of all the evidence in order to do that on the record, and that's not the case, at least as of right now. So this does not mean that they have enough on David as of today to make an arrest.
Wow, that's crazy. They have not gotten enough. He cleaned up, like, from because is the matching tattoo thing real? From the matching tattoo thing to I know, like, again, that doesn't say nothing, but like the car thing, like, how are we, the car thing, bro, your whip. I know.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I mean, that is crazy.
He's probably sitting back like, bro, what? I still ain't got, I could have sworn my days were coming to an end soon. I know he feeling like, wow, I really might actually get away with this.
That's not where things are yet, but it does mean that detectives no longer see him as just someone connected to the car or a person they might want to question later. David is now considered a suspect, and this is pretty major.
Suspect status no longer. Oh man, my battery about to die. I might have to.
Up until now, most of the noise around this story came from commentators, journalists, and the internet trying to make sense of what happened. But when that confirmation comes from inside the investigation itself, that's very different. That carries weight.
Yeah.
So what does that actually mean? It means investigators are no longer treating him as someone who just happens to be tied to a vehicle where the body was found. Yes, the Tesla was registered to David the whole time, but that alone doesn't automatically make someone a suspect. And in David,
precisely, somebody else could come chop up a body, and because they know they trying to pin it on you, because they know you've been associated. Y'all got matching tattoos. Y'all got people already been. You got a whole song with the name. You got, you know what I mean. So they know, and they come dump the body in your stuff. Now it puts it, it make it seem like it's you, but it's really not.
David's situation,
but now he has been ruled a suspect due to evidence found. Come on, man. That does change things.
Detail becomes even more complicated because with the level he was operating at, the management, the team around him, the people coming in and out of the places he stayed.
This is a crazy situation to be in, bro. Imagine you in this situation. Like,
we know that there were multiple individuals who potentially had,
especially if you innocent. Now, if you did it, I don't even know. But if you innocent,
access to his cars, his properties, and his general belongings. So investigators had to look deeper. People lend cars out, people borrow things, people come and go. Yeah. And detectives obviously know that. They needed more than a registration to take the next step. Now, it does not mean that they've reached a conclusion. It does not mean he's guilty. And it does not mean an arrest is guaranteed or around the corner. But it does mean the investigation has now moved into a different phase. And according to sources with direct knowledge of the case, this wasn't something that happened overnight. Detectives have been working quietly behind the scenes for weeks, interviewing people close to the situation, cross-checking timelines, examining digital information, reviewing physical evidence, and this is the point where they felt like they had enough to place him in that category. And when you look back at how this entire story began, a body discovered inside the front trunk of a Tesla registered to him, this suspect classification becomes one of the most serious developments we've seen since the very beginning. Yeah, this is the moment where the tone of the investigation shifts. This is when the pressure increases, and this is when detectives begin focusing in a lot more than before.
That happened months before her remains were found in the trunk of that Tesla on September 8th. And now the source also tells us that pop singer David is being considered a suspect in her death.
Now, connected to the suspect status, there's another major development investigators are focused on right now. Two separate law enforcement sources have told reporters that detectives do not believe this was a one-person job. According to those sources, investigators think a second individual was involved in the effort to dispose of Celeste's body during the months before she was found inside that Tesla.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here.
I wonder what got
Wishing
him
you
thinking
a
that.
very happy half-off
I wonder what got him
because
thinking
right
that.
now Mint Mobile is offering you
One source even said confidently that investigators believe that more than one person was involved in the handling of the teen's body in the months before her remains were found in that Tesla, according to two law enforcement sources familiar with the inquiry.
I wonder what got him thinking that.
Somebody that he rock with and also be on weird activity with him, and they both got their hands dirty and was like, bro, you gotta help me, bro, please, bro. And he's like, fuck, all right, come on. Maybe something like that, a moment like that.
So the fact that law enforcement sources are speaking that boldly is pretty crazy to me.
Yeah,
so now the focus isn't just on what happened. It's on who else might have played a role in this thing. Who is this other person? A friend, someone in the circle maybe, or someone the public doesn't even know exists. As of right now, we don't have...
Well, the way they worded that too, it made it seem like they know David did it. Now they just trying to find who else did it with him. The way that was worded as well. You know what I mean?
Those answers yet. But when detectives believe a second person was involved, that tells you this wasn't one terrible moment or one impulsive decision. It suggests planning. It suggests coordination. It suggests someone else out there is holding secrets and staying quiet, at least for now. Because based on some things that we're going to talk about later on in the video, there are witnesses and even informants.
If my camera dies, I'm going to just pause the video, let my battery charge, and run it back when it charged up.
It's already cooperating with police behind this.
Continue where we were from when the died. Yeah.
Scenes. And this is according to law enforcement sources. So it's only a matter of time before those pieces connect. Now we're left with some...
What's his infatuation with blood and death so much, bro? He rocking around stage with this bloody ass shirt, like, golly, man. This guy right here, bro, he's not helping his case if he's an innocent man.
Questions. How far does this thing actually extend? Who helped and why? If investigators are right about what they're claiming, this case goes way deeper than anyone imagined when the first headlines hit. And the thing about investigations like this is, once detectives have that story lined up, once they connect, the digital evidence, the timelines, and the, witness statements, right? That's when everything can come crashing down very fast. Now, on top of that, there's another major development investigators revealed. It's now been confirmed that David is not cooperating with law enforcement. When this story first broke back in September, every early report, every headline painted the picture that he was in fact cooperating. And to be fair, it was extremely early in the process. Detectives had just...
Hey, he said, I need my lawyer. You know what that mean? Yeah, we got to battle this out. I know I ain't gonna lie. That's... you heard me? Because it would be different if he wasn't cooperating from the beginning. But you was cooperating. Then they start getting closer. Start seeing some stuff that probably don't match up with what you saying. Now you choose to stop cooperating. That's a bad look.
Discover the body. They were still identifying the remains. And everyone was simply trying to figure out what had happened. And that was, at the end of the day, the information that was being revealed. So the story was that he had spoken with investigators in some capacity, and he was in fact cooperating. But now we're learning that this is not the case as of right now. According to a LAPD source with direct...
I feel like that could be just a simple lawyer saying, hey, enough of that. We're not doing
that. Yeah, that could be it too.
Doing that. We're doing X, Y, Z. I feel like that's a lawyer. That could be a lawyer decision right there.
Knowledge of the investigation. The same source who confirmed that he was a suspect. David has not been cooperating with detectives. This information...
Yeah, that sounds like a lawyer thing. They're now saying you're now, after doing the cooperating and speaking you were doing, now you're a suspect?
Yeah. That is true. That is, yeah. I ain't even think, yeah.
Okay, well then now we need to. Their lawyer probably was like, "Well, let's dial that back, and we're not moving like that no more." That's probably what's going on.
Was directly reported to NBC4 Investigates, and this completely shifts the tone of things, right? Because when someone stops cooperating, especially in a case as serious as this, it impacts how investigators move forward, how they gather information, and how they interpret the timeline. It doesn't automatically mean wrongdoing. It doesn't confirm guilt. I want to make that very clear. But in the eyes of the investigators, non-cooperation from someone who is now officially labeled a suspect, that is very significant. And typically when someone steps back from cooperating with investigators, they start viewing that person differently, okay? It's very natural. Because in most cases, if someone is pure...
Yeah, because if you was cooperating and you innocent, man, you finna, man, no, I ain't do that. But if you wasn't cooperating from the beginning because you just don't cooperate with, you know, you don't do that, then it's different. But if you was cooperating and you're innocent, why stop cooperating? Just because they named you a suspect. If you innocent, that's probably going to make you want to fight harder. No, I'm not. You know what I mean? You going to, no, I was there. You're going to start pulling out receipts, all that.
Let's say a witness, they're willing to talk in most cases, not all cases, but in a lot of cases, if they're just a witness, they're going to speak up, right? But in this case, when cooperation stops, detectives have to consider the possibility that the individual may be connected to the situation in a deeper way, which of course, we know that David was connected to this in some type of way the whole time. Now, here's what we don't know, okay? We don't know when David stopped cooperating. People stop cooperating for all kinds of reasons. Let's make that clear, okay? Sometimes it's legal advice. Sometimes it's fear of saying the wrong thing. Sometimes it's pressure, confusion, or simply not wanting to be involved any further. And let's be honest, a lot of people don't fully trust law enforcement in general. Even if you're completely innocent, if the police starts asking you questions, your guard is going to go up. That's human nature. I mean, I know for me personally, if officers approach me in a situation where I, let's say, didn't see anything, didn't know anything about whatever it was that they were talking about, I'd be very cautious too, okay?
Hey, what's good, y'all? I'm back again. And I've been putting payout work. I've not been y'all finesse is wild. I don't know what y'all then play and credits you're free of charge. It may take a little the same thing. And DM me, let me know that promising that's gonna happen every day. Convincing.
This machine could change
ad on
t-shirt
top of
printing forever. I printed this t-shirt with the
that you need, bro.
And a lot of people can definitely relate to that. And another thing to keep in mind is the reality of the music industry. When an artist reaches a certain level, there are a lot of people financially tied to their career. Labels, management.
I'm telling you, they got some real, like some industry lawyers that are in there, like trying to work this play for them, and they were like, "No, this is the best case. Don't say we're not cooperating no more. You're done."
Partners. So in situations like this, there's often a lot of legal guidance, a lot of caution, and a lot of protection around what the artist says or doesn't say. That's just how the industry operates. But here's where things take a much stranger turn, because according to investigators, Celeste's death didn't happen anywhere near September. It likely happened months earlier in the spring. And that detail changes everything. According to a law enforcement source who spoke to the LA Times, Celeste may have been dead for months, likely dating
Why are you holding a candle?
all the way back to the spring before her remains
It's a good aesthetic though, I can't even lie. It's hard.
Were finally discovered in September.
Especially if we're talking about something like this, like it can represent, you know, candle for the deceased.
And if that's true, I mean, think about what that means. It means there's a massive gap in the timeline that nobody publicly knew about. So that in itself raises a whole new
I wouldn't even listen
gap
to candle
in September. And if that's true, I mean, think about what that means. It means there's a massive gap in the timeline that nobody publicly knew about. So that in itself raises a whole new set of questions. Where was Celeste during all those months after she disappeared? Who was she around? And how did nobody notice something was terribly wrong for that long? Now, yes, she had run away from home multiple times. We know that, which might explain why her absence didn't immediately set off anyone's alarm bells, right? But that's a heartbreaking conversation on its own that we're not going to go into right now. This spring timeline is one of the biggest twists in the entire investigation because it forces everyone, detectives included, to rethink how this happened. Now let's also address something important. A few days ago, multiple outlets, including Rolling Stone and TMZ, reported that Celeste's body may have been refrigerated or even frozen before.
Oh man, damn. Yeah, bro, he was running around trying to get in contact, asking people, looking stuff up. He got up. There's a phone in the river somewhere, bro. For sure. He over here. What to do with exploring dark web forums and shit like that. Asking people.
Hey, if he is guilty and he did that, imagine when they find out, when they pull up that information, how he feel. They walk in the room, yeah, so we believe the body was refrigerated. What? In his head, he like, oh my God, how did they figure that out? How did they even know that? He start, stomach go down to your cheeks, man.
People asking gang members and shit like that, trying to figure out something for sure. He was definitely trying to figure something out, or had somebody doing something
inside that Tesla. You might have heard about this news, and the reports said that investigators were apparently exploring that freezing theory, and that outside forensic experts were being brought in to help understand the condition of the remains. But now we have an official update, and that information has actually been refuted by law enforcement. And LAPD Scott Williams told reporters that the body was not frozen, despite what a lot of media outlets had been saying. The LAPD also put up the following statement saying this: the Los Angeles Police Department is aware of the recent stories posted by various media outlets about the David Celeste Rivas investigation and would like to dispel some misinformation contained in their reporting. The body of Celeste Rivas was not frozen when it was discovered on September 8, 2025. She had not been decapitated. Now, the reason why I'm sharing this with you is because the freezing theory actually ended up going viral. A lot of people saw it. A lot of people repeated it. And for a lot of folks, it became part of what.
But I believed it right then before he cleared it up. So, you know, that's a good thing to clear up. I was like,
pretty cool, huh? That's the laser strike system from us here at Vanish. This little bullet drops into just
like, I just started making the whole scenario, telling y'all right now.
They thought was the truth about this case. And this is why I want you to be very careful about trusting every single detail you see online about the situation and the story. Guys, there's a lot of misinformation, a lot of assumptions, and a lot of headlines that don't really match what investigators are actually saying. And I'm not saying that I'm above ever getting something wrong either. I'm human, and if I make a mistake and new information comes out that proves it, I'm always going to come back, point it out, and correct it in front of you, because that's the only way to cover a story like this. It's just the right thing to do. And also, I'm not trying to bullshit you. You get what I'm saying? I have enough respect for you to the point where I'm not going to sit here and lie and make stuff up, and then when I'm wrong, I'm not going to acknowledge it. That's just not how I do things, okay? Now, there's another lead detectives are said to be reviewing, and it points to a...
Do we kind of look like the black version of me? Let me make that face. I think we just got the same lips, kind of. I think the upper lip, or the nose, and the cheek structure. What? I don't know.
A location about a 2-hour drive outside of Los Angeles. David's alleged secret trip to Santa Barbara. According to TMZ, who cites a source with knowledge of the investigation, a critical part of the case involves a mysterious trip David allegedly took to a remote area of Santa Barbara County in the middle of the night. Now, I do want to point this out. TMZ uses the phrase last spring, while NBC states in the spring of 2025. So there is a bit of a wording conflict in how different sources describe the timeline. That's something investigators will ultimately clarify as they piece everything together. Personally, I'm going with spring 2025 though, because that's what we know, okay? But that's beside the point. If detectives believe the death occurred in the spring of 2025, which obviously that would make sense, then any unexplained late night travel to remote areas during that same period becomes something they have to look at closely. Does this trip overlap with the window when Celeste disappeared? We don't know the answers to those questions yet, obviously. We don't know what, if anything, investigators found in that area, and we don't know whether this moment ends up being a crucial part of the timeline or just a coincidence that happened during that same period, allegedly. But what we do know is this: investigators...
I don't know how coincidental that during a period of when somebody passed away, you also took his special remote trip that he likes to take in Santa Barbara, and to push back, and then now things are not right. I don't know how coincidental that is. That sounds like something there.
are aware of this trip, allegedly, and it's something that detectives are currently reviewing as they try to understand what really happened.
Can't lie on that one.
And while all this was unfolding, something unusual happened online. As I was going through the public records like I always do when I cover cases like this, I noticed that the information on the medical examiner's website had actually been completely removed. So there's absolutely no information that you can find about it on the medical examiner's website. Up until this point, no one knew why that happened, but after digging further and reviewing new reports and court filings, now we finally have the answer, and this is the truth about that. The LAPD went to a judge and successfully got a court order.
Well, I like that shirt, bro. Hey, that shirt hard. I just noticed that shirt. That shirt hard, man. Talking about that green, look at the leather joint. Oh man.
To seal everything about this, about this case right here, and specifically in relation to
his team
everything about this a judge and successfully got a court order, and this is the truth about that. The LAPD went to a judge and successfully got a court order to seal everything about this, about this case right here, and specifically in relation to Celeste's autopsy. And when I say everything, I mean everything: cause of death, manner of death.
Wow, that's crazy.
Good. That's good.
Why would they do that? Just to keep the public from causing more discourse?
Yeah.
And
David, you don't want your suspect knowing all the business, man. You gotta play your cards right.
Keep, I don't know, maybe something from happening. Like,
you don't want the enemy knowing everything that you got planned, because they could, stack the cards against you.
Why would they do that? Or maybe to keep people involved from seeing and knowing if they need to hurry up and get out of town.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Why would they do that?
Autopsy results, physical evidence, the entire findings completely locked away, at least for now. And the reasoning here gets even more intense. The detective behind this request, Detective Joshua Byers, a veteran from the Elite Robbery Homicide Division, he told the court that releasing these details could jeopardize the investigation, not just by showing what police already know, but by revealing witnesses and
okay. See, hey.
Imagine being able to build anything just by thinking about it. Meet Base 44.
Hey, I'm investigating.
It look like my camera might make it, man.
In another life, bro, I was an officer. I called it just in case they were somebody that's part of it. They happen to see and they like, man, let me get the fuck up out of here, bro. They coming down on me. They starting to realize and they're putting two and two together. Let me get out of town.
Interesting. Who are actively helping detectives,
and they don't want them to find out the witnesses that's cooperating with law enforcement, because
meaning there are people talking, there are people cooperating, and police believe their safety could be at risk if the truth comes out too
damn, I just did that whole thing, but I still feel like it's that though
early. So what looked like a random website update was actually law enforcement.
It's both. You right, bro. It's both. It's
tightening their grip on the case. And the judge, his name is Craig Richmond, he agreed. He granted LAPD's request, sealing the entire file. The medical examiner's office literally had to stop releasing information to the public. Every detail.
What I said still makes sense though, because if a witness,
for sure,
just help seal the witness, like make sure they don't get got or their safety is good. Because if somebody that's a part of it could go over there and whack them, they could go over there and whack them for sure, because they already with it. You feel me? Their life is coming to an end. Or for them to see, oh, this person knows, oh yeah, they about to start coming down on me. Yep. So I'm standing on what I said. It's still right.
Behind legal protection. Yep. Now, here's where it gets interesting, okay? Even the chief medical examiner himself, Dr. Ode
Ukpu, I know he be finding stuff out. He looked like he be finding stuff out.
Who, by the way, is the first African-American to ever lead that office since it was created back in 1850, he publicly pushed back against this decision, and this is what he said. The practice of security holds is virtually unheard of in other counties and has not been proven to improve outcomes in the legal system. We are dedicated to serving our community with full transparency. However, the law precludes us from doing so while the court order remains in this case. And he actually denied LAPD's first attempt back in September 15th, about a week after this entire thing came out, right? Saying they didn't provide enough justification. But now that justification has arrived and that hold is officially in place. And the LAPD, they're not really denying any of this, right? A captain from the department explained why, and this is what he said. Detectives need to receive the information before the public does, so nothing leaks that could compromise what they're building behind the scenes.
Sure.
Now, when police
that makes sense to me. I feel like that's a good point.
Fighting this hard to control information, it usually means they're doing, or they're closing in on something or someone.
If the opponent know your move, unless you've already solidified the game, then you're just setting yourself up for failure.
They don't want to be tipped off too early, right? And that brings us to another revelation. In these very same court filings, for the first time ever, LAPD officially described this as an investigation into murder. Now, sure, we all assume that from the beginning. I mean, a 14-year-old little girl found dismembered in a truck, in the front of a trunk, I should say. Of course, that's murder, like somebody did that to her, right? Yeah. But this is the first time law enforcement themselves have put that exact word into the record, right? So they're not just describing this as a tragic death, and it's not an accidental situation or anything like that. It's officially a murder investigation. I think these developments are significant because of what they really communicate. This isn't just police gathering information anymore. This isn't a wait and see situation. That there are people they're actively building a case around and against, and that releasing the wrong detail to the public